Yeah, and I'm very thankful for that. And just to give you some practical examples in our life, and this is just our life, our situations. Everyone's marriage is going to be different, but you'll see the same concept of selflessness if this is being put into practice, essentially. Um, I can think of, for example, my wife, to where when we were courting, and for those of you who don't know what courting is or courtship is, I know that's a pretty ancient term. We courted for about 3 years before we got married, and we'll have a video on what courtship is for those of you who are thinking about getting married, just to help you out a little bit, some things we've learned and put into practice. But when we were courting, um, we we were discussing each other's goals in life and what we wanted to do in life. And some of the things that my wife wanted to do was be a professor and work in the forensic science field, right? Um, so much so that she got like, what, 4 or 5 degrees, 6 degrees to my one. How many degrees did you get? Two degrees, music and forensic. And she was actively pursuing music to the point where she started her master's degree. She was actively pursuing forensics to where she was working with a company to get in on some crime scenes that she couldn't tell me about sometimes. Even though I was trying to get some details, she was pretty adamant about not telling me what she could not tell me. And she was pursuing it hard. Then she started to realize, well, I want a family too. And I want children and a husband to love and a home. And I mean, she wanted it all. And to the person out there, the woman out there who's pursuing an education, go for it. And just keep in mind, if you also want to have that family structure, that married life, to where you are a good mother and a loving wife, even a good friend to others, an example, it can become very difficult, wouldn't you say, to juggle, for, in her example, forensic science and music. I mean, these positions take hours in the day. I mean, I would imagine you're talking 50 hours, 60 hours, more, maybe?
I feel like the forensics job would be, 40 hours a week plus.
Yeah.
And then if
depending on what crime's at hand, I guess, the time of day.
Music, you have to do your own practicing, rehearsals,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you teach, you have the lessons. And
Yeah, and she wanted to also have a family. And then she began to realize that this is going to be hard. This is going to be very hard. And where she showed selflessness is, after talking to a couple of friends of ours and thinking it through together, reading some scriptures on it, praying about it, lots of prayer, she came to the conclusion that you can't be a wife, a mother to your children, helping out, keeping up with the home, and have a full-time gig. In her case, 2 full-time gigs, right? I mean, that would be super difficult. And I mean, talking about the children alone, I wake up at 7 o'clock, no, earlier than that, like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, to get to work for 7 o'clock, depending on the days. And she would have to go to work. Then who's going to watch our kids? Oh, we're going to have to send them to daycare, which is what, $300 per kid, I've heard before. And then you got to worry about who's teaching your kids throughout the day, right? You get them back at the end of the day just for dinner and to put them to bed. I mean, who's teaching your kids? Who's raising them, right? So you kind of lose touch of the family structure when it comes to that. So is there something you can think of as to selflessness about me? I'm just curious because I am a selfish being by nature. And that's something I have to consistently work at and consider. My wife and my kids. But
Yeah, well, you didn't finish though.
what?
You didn't tell them that I still teach.
That's right.
I still teach music.
She still teaches music. She's able to
But
teach music.
I gave up the forensic
Mhm.
so that I could be at home, be a mother, and a wife.
Yep, she surely did.
Yeah.
So.
But Bree here, he is very selfish. Selfless. You're very selfish. Selfless in that he wakes up in the morning and gives us breakfast. Being that we have 2 kids under 2, so I'm up a lot at night feeding and taking kids to the bathroom because they're potty training as well.
I mean, I would help if I could feed, but I don't think these things quite work. I don't think that's the way we were created.
So I'm very tired and just not much of a morning person.
Yeah.
Never have been. We've been a night owl. Yeah, I can stay up all night, but don't wake me. But he wakes up early and takes time out of his morning to make us breakfast in the morning, which is nice because if not, it'd probably be cereal or oatmeal.
Yeah, so just some things to think about, if you're in a marriage to where you see yourself always blaming the other person for something, and there's some good tips out there we've heard from compromising and doing things with each other, having date nights, and I mean so much more that we've heard, and that some things that are really, really good to consider. But all in all, after all the information we've collected and data we've collected and listened to, and I'm not saying we've listened to everything there is about marriage, but I think it's fair to say, above all, selflessness would be ideal in a marriage. So put it to practice and you will see a complete change in your marriage. If you're already putting it to practice, that you can't get enough of it. Marriage is humility on steroids. So get it cracking. Peace.